All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Lucid Trading on this beautiful Friday, the 26th of March. And, well, what can I say? Stocks are right now going down. The Nasdaq is negative at the moment, which is kind of problematic. This could be, if this continues, because yields are going up. You can see right here, yields are going up 1.7%. This was to be expected. We said this yesterday. I said it several times. There was a high probability that yields were going to go up to roughly 1.7 at first and then potentially moderately exceed that level. Now, yields are up 1.8%. Nasdaq is looking quite negative, and it's about to be leaving this important support. If it does leave this support, expect a lot of mayhem. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Lucid Trading. Hope you guys had an awesome Thursday. Welcome back on this beautiful Friday. Good morning to everybody and welcome back. Make sure you hit that like button. I'm watching. Let's get to 20 likes. Welcome back, Chili Sauce, Espen, Roberto, Gabriel, MC, Led Zepp, Dragon Rise, Jin Lee, Plup, Jan, Kenneth, Sergio, Urki, Aryan. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back on this worrisome day, since yields are skyrocketing right now. You can see it right here. Yields are popping up ever so slightly. The daily chart looks like it wants to be crossing again very soon, which could be a problematic thing for the markets. You can already see that the Nasdaq is pulling back. It was looking positive for a while, but it pulled back right after yields started going up. So, what is going to happen with the markets? Are we going to see more red? Are we going to be seeing this crash down further? Now, that is going to be one of the questions we're going to be asking today, because obviously it is going to be the last trading day of this week. And might be nice to know where stocks are heading for next week. Yeah, so of course I don't have a crystal ball that tells me where stocks are heading. We're just going to be using some technical analysis and some fundamental analysis, and we're going to kind of guys and see where stocks are heading for next week and for today, of course. Let's take a look at the 30 minutes. Oh yeah, that is looking kind of problematic. On the short term, I would say there's a chance of a bit of a bounce here. Kind of similar to what we saw right here. A bit of a bounce to the upside could be possible on the short term, but then you look at the long term and it doesn't look exactly good. It looks like there's more downside to come. But I would say today is a very crucial day, because if stocks today will go lower, that would potentially be reason enough to say that stocks are going to go down right to that 12,300 and even breach it potentially, going down to the 11,900s. This is totally going to be dependent on how fast the yields are going up. So far, it seems like it's going up moderately, but we're going to see throughout the day whether this increase is going to continue and whether it's going to rally for the whole day, right? Because if that's the scenario, and it goes up to 1.7 and above, well, obviously that's going to have a big impact on the Nasdaq, and I would expect the Nasdaq to plummet down towards this 12,500 and maybe even below that level, which could mean that growth and tech stocks would sell off substantially. All right, let's see. I'm just going to check the pre-markets here. Tesla is down 1%. I heard something happened with NIO. NIO is down 7%, it says. Let me check Market Watch. There was some bad news coming in about NIO. There you go, Market Watch. It's down 7%, right? It hit the 34 at some point. And yeah, NIO is having a tough time. They're going to have to close production. So production is being closed off because of this. You know, there's just not enough supply for chips. You can see it's right at this support, where previously we saw it drop to the 31.8 for a brief second. So NIO is definitely heading down here, right at the 200 moving average. The 200 moving average here on the daily chart. Market cap of roughly 47 billion. It has been slicing its market cap since that downturn on the 18th of February. I want to check the weekly out. Weekly has been negative for a while, so I would not be surprised if it bottoms out still in this zone. Yeah, I think Neo is looking really good. Neo is looking very, very good at $35. But yeah, keep in mind, production is going to be stale because of the supply issues that we're seeing globally. This is also affecting Tesla, of course. Tesla's down 1%. XPeng is down, what is it? 5.6%. Interesting. So, XPeng is down 5%. What's happening with Li Auto? Li Auto is down 5% as well. If anything, I mean, this supply issue, I don't think it's going to be long term. But on the short term, I could definitely see this being a dip where you could get Neo shuts down factories for 5 days because of... Yeah, that was the news. The fact that the factories are being closed is having a very negative impact on Chinese EV stocks because obviously it also kind of... People get afraid of like, wait, what is going to happen with XPeng then, and what is going to happen with Li Auto? They're going to have the same issues. AI is up. Look at that. Everything is going down. AI is up. Palantir up slightly. Snowflake sort of sitting sideways after going up 4%. I guess that does make sense. Apple is still on this trend line. On the trend line here, the longer term trend line, but it looks kind of bad on the monthly. Yeah, we'll see if we're going to reach that 140 for earnings. That would be pretty cool. So like a massive rally for Apple throughout the month of April. That could be a possibility here. Let me check the weekly. Yeah. Definitely. I would say there's a huge probability that we will see a bounce for earnings here, going back to the 140s. Potentially reach that level by end of April, but could extend a little bit further. I think it would be by the end of April. Going back to the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's still pulling down. The Russell 2000s are pulling back up. Look at that. Russell 2000s are pulling back up, in fact. It's right at a crucial resistance, and it's crossing it, which is a bullish signal. So it seems like we're not going to see the Russell 2000 crash here, which a lot of people were fearful on, and it seems like it's not crashing just yet. Which does mean small market caps are still going to be going up more, which is positive. I want to check some things here. What is happening with Gamestop? Gamestop is sitting at $200. Again, this is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. 1 hour time frame. It's right at the resistance. It's passing resistance. Oh boy. Yeah, I did point out that from the 170-ish, it could be moving up to the 240s. And so far, so good. It's been moving to that range. It's... My gosh, GameStop is still going up. 12.8 billion market cap. Yeah, the hedge funds are getting absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. Alright, let me check AMC. AMC is going up as well. Initially went down here, then headed back up to the 11.5, which I said was going to happen here, but instead it went down. I guess so. That happened with the markets, I believe. It went down quite a bit, actually. Look at that. Bounced back up. Wow, the meme stocks are doing quite well now on the short term. But I would personally not touch any of those stocks. So. Yeah, so the major question here is going to be, will yields rise even further? On the 30 minutes, it seems like yields are topping out again. pretty much. So we're not seeing the same amount of strength that we used to see. On the 1 hour, it could run up a little bit further to the 1.7. And then you look at the 4 hour, and it's like, yeah, it's crossing here. And, well, it could go up a little further. It doesn't look like it's going to push just as fast as we have seen. So that is a good thing, I would say. Because if you would compare the 30 minutes from this time span. So, yeah. It looks kind of bearish. So what would happen is it would plummet here again and then rise again, probably. So we're not seeing anything that is more bullish than what we have seen before. So it looks kind of weak right now on yields. So bonds are being bought. TLT is down again. There you go, plummeting. But you can see the RSI moved into the oversold fairly quickly. And it seems like it's going to bottom out here. Yeah, I don't think it's going to create a lower low. I think it's going to kind of create a support level here, which it has already at the 135, and it's going to bounce again. So this might be an uptrend for bonds, which would mean that yields are going to go down. So that is looking all right. We have a donation coming in from D. Costco. It's a $5 donation, and D. Costco says, "What will NEO bottom out at today?" Good question. Okay. It's difficult to tell because this is being driven by purely fundamentals, right? So the fact that the supply is not enough for their production in terms of like the battery supply and the chip supply is kind of problematic. I expected it to bottom out in this zone anyway and then move upwards. Okay, let's do like a proper analysis. It is still right at that support, right? It's kind of crucial. It hit the oversold, bounced right back up, back at that level. Yeah, this is not a good pattern that you want to be seeing. This basically means there's more room to be going down. Right. It is getting close to that oversold. I mean, mostly it will be dependent on what is going to be happening here with the market. But because we're seeing this daily cross here, it either has to skyrocket today, or I'm expecting it to go down even further than this on the short term. So, if I would just grab this beautiful trend line here. I think, yeah, it might go back to the 32. Would be kind of nutty, but yeah, 32 would be the bottom. $30.5, 32. That's the range, I would say. But I'm not expecting this to be sitting at these low levels for a while. It could bottom out in this range and really fast rebound. So if anything, it's going to be another dip, because I think we already knew there was going to be like not enough supply in the chip side of things, and that's also for the most part already priced into the stock. And I think it's just going to be a temporary dip. There's going to be a discount on NEO stock, and it's going to go back to original value, and it's going to rise even further as we get closer to that monthly delivery number. So, yeah, if anything, NEO stock is looking cheap right now. It's also going to be dependent on what happens with the Nasdaq and the Russell, but I would say the Nasdaq in particular Looking quite okay since yields are not skyrocketing, just going up slightly. That is good to be seeing. The dollar is going down, which is good to be seeing as well. So it might bottom out in that zone, the 32. That's the most extreme thing I could see here. But it could bottom out right here as well. So because this is also a support at the 34-ish, 34.6. So both could be happening here, but I would not expect more downside. More downside that this would be very crazy. It would go back to like 27 or 25 or something like that. Which I don't think is going to happen unless the Nasdaq plummets like 3% or something. Maybe that could make it trigger that much downside. All right, but yeah, nevertheless, thanks for that donation. Do appreciate that. I'm just checking here what's happening. There's a lot of fear around NEO. We have the delisting fear. We have the supply fear. We have the fact that this is not the strongest quarter for EVs. On top of that, we have the Nasdaq fear. We have, the lockdowns. So I personally like to buy the fear because you can see what happened. It plummeted. We are getting a discount on really good companies. And I like to dollar cost average on those kind of companies. Alright, so the 10-year is now going down slightly, which is good. Nasdaq is reacting quite positively to that, I would say. I'm going to have to move that slightly. There you go. The idea is that we would see a rebound from this support zone. Hopefully that would happen today. If it doesn't happen today, if it breaches this support, I'm going to turn into a bear. I'm going to say this is going to drop all the way to 11,900. It has to hold up this support. If it doesn't, that is it. I will turn bearish on this on the short term. Calls. We've got roughly 25 minutes left until the market is going to go open here. And we will see whether today will be a substantially red day or a substantially green day. I think a lot of people are going to be buying and selling stock today just because of the fact that, like, it's just right at that crucial zone where if it bounces up, we could see next week potentially green, and if it goes down here, we could be in a downtrend for the next week, all the way down to 11,900, dependent on yields. Well, the second Gara turns into a bear, the market will recover. I hope so. I hope so. So far so good. Let me check what's happened in the past. Looks quite similar to this zone in terms of the market behavior that we're seeing right now. Like a kangaroo market. And then to the upside. Let's see if the MACD and RSI looks similar. Slightly similar. Slightly. The moves are a lot bigger, actually. Alright, what's happening here? Yeah, April is the hottest month for the market, but we're not in April yet. You know, we could still see, like, this be like a horrible downturn until the 12,000s in a couple days' time. We've seen this happen before. The markets can move very, very fast to the downside before it recovers. Do not underestimate that. That is a mistake. But so far, it does look good. It doesn't look like we're seeing yields go up substantially. Yields are moving up quite slowly in comparison to what we've seen. The last time Gara was a bear on NEO, it went up parabolic to 60, and then it went to $30. It went from 40 to 60, I believe, and then it went to like literally $30. So I don't know. I think I was bearish for a good reason. I would rather not invest in a stock that it was about to go up 50% to only go down 50% after that. Very, very risky. Yeah, timing that well is difficult. Same thing happened with CCIV. I bought CCIV at 35. It skyrocketed to 60. Then it moved down to 20. Well, guess what? I mean, you've got to like, you've got to have a plan, you know. We've seen this downturn in 2018. It looks, it doesn't look that similar to it. It looks more like what we've seen in September, to be really honest. Like, it looks a lot like September. Very similar. Although this right here, when we reached that overbought, and the way it plummeted there, that's something we haven't seen. That's the only thing we have not seen. But this kind of behavior, the way it's moving, well, we're seeing that right now. Looks quite similar in the movement. Particularly this pattern. Which is, I guess it's just consolidating. Same thing right here. Just consolidating. We'll have to see. Nasdaq is pulling up slightly. This is happening as yields are going down and the dollar is going down, which is good for the market in general. Tesla's going up. XPeng going up. NEO still lower than XPeng. CCIV still down. Of course, CCIV is not going to move until we see that merger happen, right? So when we know we're like 3 weeks away from that merger, you're going to see CCIV go up substantially. But for now, it's just going to move sideways. All right, there you go. Alrighty then. I want to check something. What are the banks doing? Banks are going up. Banks are going up because the yields are going up, right? So yields go up, banks go up. Value stocks going sideways. Look at that. These lines or arrows. Procter & Gamble bottomed out, skyrocketed. Verizon, same story. Coca-Cola didn't draw an arrow, but I knew it was bullish for a fact. Chevron is down. It's up right now, but it was down quite a bit here. This was because of the Suez Canal. You know, the boat that is stuck. These oil companies going down substantially. I think we could see the same thing with Shell. Yeah, Shell just plummeted right here. Let me check UWMC. Yeah, that is horrible. Okay, back to the Nasdaq. Nasdaq going up now more. Looking at that yield decrease, which is causing the Nasdaq to be going up even further. Kinan says, "Hi Gara. I've been on your channel every day for the past 3 months and not missed one show. Thank you for your work, man. You're smart. Keep it up. Do appreciate the kind words and loyalty, Kinan. You the best, and I'll try to deliver as much as I can and increase the quality, of course, over time. Nasdaq is now pulling up even further. Look at that, minus 0.18. It was minus 0.5. So this is happening as yields went down slightly. Let's see. Oh, by the way, smash that like button for 10,000 years of good luck. Let's get to 100 likes. That would be pretty cool. AI is up 2% as the market is negative. Okay. That's what I want to see. The reason AI is going up right now, this is a very good reason. I'm expecting it to go to 80, by the way. It's going to go to 80, 100%. It's going to go to 80. Why is AI going up, right? So what's the reason? On the 31st of March, in about a week from now, they're going to be displaying their software. They're going to be doing a demo day. Remember Palantir's demo day? What happened on Palantir's demo day? It skyrocketed like 30% or something, or 40%. I'm not expecting something like that necessarily. I do expect a 20% increase in the stock price until then. Either until then or on that date. I'm expecting C3.ai to be sitting at around $80, right? It's not very significant, but it's a start. And that would be the start of an uptrend on C3.ai. And looking at the daily chart on this company, it is about to be crossing. And oh boy, if it's going to cross, it is also in the overbought right now. So while it's up 5%, I would expect this to be moving all the way to that 120 by I would say the end of May. It's going to take a long time, but I wouldn't mind because I personally have a lower price on C3.ai. But yeah, I think that demo day is going to be so crucial. C3 going bankrupt. It can't go bankrupt. It has too much money. They have $1.1 billion. And how much money do they lose on an annual basis? They lose roughly $70 million on an annual basis. Let's say that they burn through $100 million each year. For the next 5 years, C3.ai would still not go bankrupt. So this is why it doesn't make sense to say it's going to go bankrupt. I think they're going to be just fine. They've got a lot of cash on hand. Someone should post a link to the video of Gara when he was talking about it to buy at $170. Well, it was a different environment, you know. Yields were not going up. The Nasdaq was sitting solid. It was a different environment. I was swing trading it. I wasn't buying huge amounts of it. I was like buying a couple shares for that catalyst. And well, guess what happened in between that time? The Nasdaq plummeted. Yields went up. There was a sector rotation. Well, of course, I was talking about specific stock, and I do think it's going to be worth way more than 170 in the coming 5 years. In the coming 3 years, maybe. Maybe even this year, probably. I think by Q3 of this year, I think it's going to exceed the all-time high. Q3, beginning of Q4. You bought 10k of C3.ai. How is that not much? Hold up. Smack them with your gains once it pops. Yeah, I mean that's the only way to disprove of this. But you have to understand, a lot of people are actually shorting C3.ai. So whenever I say something bullish on C3.ai, I immediately get an emotional response from some people, which is fine, you know. I like to see the objectivity, you know. You can criticize me. I'm in terms of, like, if you can criticize me, go ahead, as long as you're being respectful. Criticize me. But I am still bullish on C3.ai. I don't see a reason to not be bullish on C3.ai. Unless, you know, the Nasdaq plummets below this level, I would start turning a lot more bearish, I would say. But for now, things are still looking fine. I do think there is a lot of upside coming for not only C3.ai, but Palantir and Snowflake. And I would say also a couple of those EV companies. Just give me 1 second here. Yields go up, Nasdaq goes down. There you go. It's so funny how that works, right? Yields go up a slight amount, Nasdaq goes down a slight amount. It is almost entirely correlated to that at this moment, because there's no fundamentals right here. All right, we've got roughly 13 minutes left until the market is going to go open here. And in those 13 minutes, we're going to reach 150 likes. See if we can get there. Yeah, but to see like a 60% gain by Q3 in this market environment, yeah, I think we can do that. I think in 6 months' time, 6 months, it's like a 10% gain each month for a hyper-growth company in the tech business. Yeah, that could be possible. We've seen crazier things happen in this market. We've seen way crazier things happen in this market. You know how much Palantir went up? I'm going to show you how crazy it is how Palantir went up. Palantir was sitting at what? $8 at some point. $8. It went up to 45. How much of a return is that? That is like 500% in how much? This is not even 6 months. This is like October, end of October, right? So end of October. So let's say November, December, January. That's 3 months. A 500% increase in Palantir in 3 months is possible. If that is possible, I could definitely see a 60% increase in C3.ai's price in 6 months' time. That is not unreasonable if they perform good. And I do think they're going to perform good. Palantir is different. Really, is it different? Because last time I checked, Splunk has way more revenue than Palantir, and it has half the market cap. You've got to be objective about these kind of things. You can't just be like, Palantir is the greatest thing ever. You've got to look at the fundamentals and technicals. I do think Palantir is going to rise, but if Palantir can rise, C3.ai could do the same thing. They're sort of in the same industry, sort of both growth companies with great leaders, great products. I do expect both of them to be rising quite a bit. So I do think it is possible in this speculative environment that we're in right now, where people are throwing money at companies just because of these companies throwing out buzzwords. Six months. I mean, 60% in 6 months. Hell yeah, it's going to happen. I think I think it might even go back to the original all-time high in 6 months to 7 months. By that time. What's happening here? Oil is going up, rebounding from the lows that we have seen. The 10-year keeps going up. Nasdaq is going to be reacting to that shortly. Look at that. Nasdaq is passing through the MACD here, which is, if that keeps going, you know, that is going to be bad. So that would mean it's going to bottom around April. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because that would be like whoosh, another downturn here. It would be the most predictable downturn, because everybody knows that March is the most negative month. And then April is the best month. It's like, okay, self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. Could we see the Nasdaq rise today? Well, yeah, of course we could see the Nasdaq rise if yields start cooling off here. I think that would be a scenario, you know, like most definitely. One second. All right. Yeah, it looks like yields are going to go up more. There's no way around it. Everything else, like the Dow Jones, looks like it's about to be breaking out again. Banks are breaking out again. What is happening with value stocks? Some of these value stocks. I think value stocks are about to be topping out slightly. We're going to see a bit of a top here very soon with many of these value stocks. But yeah, I would say with oil companies, because of that whole event with the Suez Canal, where the boat is stuck and where a lot of shipments or shipping is just being blocked, we could see these oil companies potentially skyrocket when that problem is resolved. So we're just waiting for this. It's just going to consolidate here for maybe another week, and then we'll see a huge move to the upside, potentially. US 100 is, yeah, we see the yields are going down slightly. What's happening with Nike? Nike is up 2.5%, filling that gap for the most part. Looks kind of bullish. I think it plummeted mainly because of that news with the Suez Canal being blocked, shipments being blocked, etc. It's having an impact on a lot of these big corporations. We've got roughly 6 minutes left until the market is going to open here. And so far, so good. All right, AI is up 2%. Palantir is up 0.8%. Snowflake, 1. Oh, Snowflake is popping in the pre-market. That is quite interesting. It's not quite reaching this 190. Or, whoa. Why did I say it's going to go to 180? I thought I said it was going to go to 190. Whatever. So far, it's not pulling down, which is good. I am very bullish on Snowflake, by the way. I do think Snowflake at these prices, we're going to see this go back to 280 very soon. By middle of April, it's going to be at 280, 100%. That is roughly a 30% increase. Palantir, of course, for that demo day, which is going to be the 14th of April, expecting huge movement to the upside. That $32 is still possible, despite this massive downturn that we've seen. We know that Palantir can move like 20% in a day, and I think we're going to see one of those days coming soon. Mostly dependent on how the Nasdaq is behaving right now, and in a couple days, in a couple weeks. Let's check the dollar. Dollar is about to cross down on the 4-hour MACD. So we're about to see some negativity on the dollar, which is good for the market. Very good for the market, I would say. It's right at this zone where it would usually top out. Also on the daily chart. But it could definitely get to overbought. But considering that we have stimulus going out to like millions of people, I don't expect it to go up much more. I expect it to be... how do you explain this? I expect the rally to continue, but not like we would see this kind of movement zigzagging around to the upside. Just like that. So it would consolidate. We can see on the 4 hours that it's about to cross down. So, yeah, we're about to see some sideways movement on the dollar. So no more skyrocketing. And yields just went up, which was something we were expecting. It is going to continually go up, having an effect on the Nasdaq. Of course, it was almost going into the green, but then yields went up slightly and pulled it back down. Bitcoin is up 3%, Ethereum up 2.8%. So crypto is doing good today. Because we don't have Jerome Powell speaking anymore. We don't have the central banks or Janet Yellen speaking on crypto anymore. So I think the mindset around that is like, there's nothing bad to be said about it anymore in the short term. So that's why we're seeing Bitcoin go up slightly. There could be fundamental news about this coming out. Could have an effect. And usually when yields go up, and you've got the dollar high as it is, people flock to like safety assets or like, gold and Bitcoin. Oh, I mean the dollar's going down, not going up. Going down, sorry. Which it is, it's a slight downturn, but we see gold still negative. But we might see gold go up very soon. 2 more minutes until the markets are going to go open on this beautiful Friday. And it seems like so far, markets are not exactly negative, but not that positive either. All right. Ralph's Nightmare is coming in with a $5 donation and says, hey Gara, please check out ATNF. It is popping. All right, let me just check it out. Oh my gosh. I was bullish on this. I thought it was going to go down initially, then go up. It did go up right here, but then it plummeted. I don't know why it plummeted, but this is a very small market cap. So for me to know where the momentum is even heading on the short term is kind of impressive, since it can move very radically. Yeah, we're seeing a big movement to the upside now. Of course, this is a massive gap that's being created. I don't know why this is happening. Must be good news around the company. 180 Life Sciences. It is sitting at 9.9. I can't say much about this. I mean, technicals are very difficult to tell here. Not a whole lot to say. I'm gonna have to be honest. Maybe we can see more in the 1 hour. It just like skyrocketed, right? Have we seen something like this before? Yeah, we have. Usually what happens is it plummets back down, I would say. So potentially plummet down, fill the gap partially. That's usually what we see happen. Especially in this kind of semi-bearish market. I'm expecting it to kind of sell off, if anything. But it's already... I don't know why it's going up. Let me just check the live chat. Biggest short float in the game. Oh, okay. It's one of those. Yeah, the market is open, by the way. The stock market is open right now. Nasdaq is moving up now slightly. Yeah, I think if it has a lot of short float, it could keep going up more. That is my estimate on this. But yeah, AI was up 2%, now only up 0.4%. Classic. Tesla is going negative now. XPeng down 3%. Neo is down 5%. It's bouncing back up. We're seeing Palantir bounce 0.2%. Snowflake is up 2%. Big tech is red in general. Big banks going up huge. Recovery stocks going up huge. And this is because yields are up. Of course. Nasdaq is not that negative, but it's, you know, it's bouncing back. About to be crossing here on the 30 minutes. So we might see the Nasdaq rally up further to the 13,000s, towards that 13,000. Hopefully we can see that happen there. But if anything, we're seeing yields rise again. All right. Neo is at 35.3. XPeng 31.8. I would say Neo's looking quite cheap right now relative to prices that we have seen. But it does look like it could come down further though. This is as the Nasdaq is pulling back up. The Russell 2000 is actually up. A lot of people were expecting to see it burst, the bubble burst, but that is not happening right now. It is the opposite. We're seeing it rise. 0.9% to the upside. Dow Jones is up 0.5%, which did kind of indicate that. Nasdaq is going positive. This is happening as yields are not going down. It's the dollar that is going down that is positive at the moment. Money's pouring into Tesla. We're seeing it go back green. Quite interesting. Neo had to close a factory. Yeah, I know. It's kind of terrible that is happening. Yeah, my portfolio right now is, let me see, sitting at where it was prior to this whole downturn. I might buy some Neo though. Is it still down? It's probably already pulling back up, you know. It's still down 5.5%. If it goes lower, if it goes much lower, then I'll get some Neo probably. I want to check C3.ai. Is it going negative now? It should be negative now, probably, by now. No, it's not negative. Unity is up big. Finally, we see Unity go up. Yeah, I expected it to go up here. It only went up for this part here, and then it's just plummeted. This was in right before the Nasdaq went down like 3% or something, I believe. I mean, Unity, to be fair, sitting at a decent price now. The market cap is at 26 billion. Revenue. Is it decent? I have to take a look at the daily chart as well. Daily chart is breaching, or I think bouncing off there. Yeah, I think I would consider just dollar cost averaging Unity at this point. They have revenues that are just scaling up just like that. Quarter over quarter increases. That could keep going for a while. We're seeing C3.ai pick up the pace again. It's up just 1%. Snowflake going up 2.5%. As it's crossing on the daily MACD as well. RSI taking a turn here to the upside. Snowflake and AI going up. This is as the Russell is still positive, 0.5 percentage point. But the Nasdaq is negative. Nasdaq is going negative because the 10-year yield is going up one more time. As we're seeing it bounce off on the 30 minutes not crossing. So go back to the 4 hours. There you go. Now sitting at, it says it's at 1.665. Yeah, okay, yeah. Look at that, it's going up more. And we should see the Nasdaq plummet even further now as the yields are going up, like we said yesterday. Let's see. Did you read the news that according to JP Morgan, the sell-off in the bond markets was due to Japan reallocating their bond portfolio, not driven by inflation fears? I don't think so. I don't trust that. What's happening is banks are selling their bonds. Big banks selling their bonds. Yields go up. Yields go up. Stocks go down. They buy the dip in the stocks. It's classic. This is not the first time that we see this. This happened several times in the past. And, you know, it's their right. You know, it's their assets. If they're selling, they're selling. If they don't think it's a nice yield that they're getting, well, yeah, they're going to sell their bonds. You know what's very interesting? What is very interesting right now? I think inflation is right around the 1.6, 1.7. Guess what yields are at right now? Yield is now at roughly that level. So that's why it's kind of flattening out right now. Because it's like, hey, I'm not getting a negative return, but I'm not getting a positive return at that level. But, you know, if inflation goes up more, if we expect it to be going up more, you'll see yields go up more because people are going to be not happy with a negative return on their bonds. That's the main reason why people are selling off. And that's why that money is being reallocated toward assets that are returning more than that 2% on a yearly basis. As a value stocks, for example, like the stocks that are giving dividends, real estate, commodities that are giving more than that 2% annual return, those are being bought now. And because growth and tech stocks are being impacted by the fact that yields are going up, by the fact that there's inflation going up, that's why those stocks are being just thrown into the garbage bin, because they're not as attractive on the short term, on the long term, as potentially the Fed fund rate might go up in a couple of years, which is going to have even more negative impact. But those are longer term things. On the short term, I think they could be just fine. What's happening with the Nasdaq? Nasdaq is up 0.11. The Dow Jones, okay. C3.ai going up 1.4% now. And we've got Snowflake up 3.4%. Beautiful. Palantir now down, still sitting flat. I'm expecting more and more movement to the upside for C3.ai. It's going to get very nutty. So what's happening here is the Nasdaq is going up despite yields being high. Okay, that's good to be seen. I guess the trend is reversing here short term. Hopefully this could stay the same right here. 1 second. Uno momento. One second, guys. I'm gonna have to check something out. All right. So Dow Jones is still up, but weakening. SPX is up. Nasdaq is going up more. Russell's going up more. This should be good, right? Everything is rallying now. We see Palantir finally going into the green. Tesla's going into the green. But NIO's still down 5.5%. Tesla's about to break out, actually. So it's about to be making a move to the 680s, roughly. I would say 680s? More like 670s. So I'm expecting Tesla to be moving to the 670s right here. There you go. 670s. That should be that move. Short-term move here. Would be a 5% increase either over today or maybe Monday and Tuesday. Look at that. Snowflake almost up 4 percentage points. Palantir now going up slightly, moving very volatile. I can't see what's happening with C3.ai. Let me just check it out. C3.ai is up 8 percentage points, so it's not going up that much. It's just Snowflake that is skyrocketing right now. As the Nasdaq is pulling up, Russell's pulling up, Dow Jones going down slightly, while yields are up, right? So it seems like the market is not caring about yields at the moment on the short term. Do you still hold Palantir? Yes, I still hold Palantir. All right. Palantir up 0.7%. AI is up 1.4%. Nasdaq, it is struggling. It is definitely struggling to remain positive, but it is doing it. And this is as yields keep popping. We said this yesterday. It was about to cross. Remember, we saw the 4-hour about to cross here, right about this zone yesterday, the 25th of March. And it did cross, and this is why I was slightly bearish. I was like, hey, if it really pops, we could see the market plummet. But so far, it's not a very large increase in the yield. All right. Yeah, Nasdaq is looking a little bit weak here. RSI sitting at levels where we have previously bottomed out, but my experience tells me it might come back down, actually. Let me check the yields. 15 minutes. Yeah, that's gonna go up more. So as that happens, the Nasdaq is gonna plummet. Russell's coming down already. Look at that, big downturn there. You can see how it's reacting. I find it strange that C3.ai is not being updated as much. Because if I go to Market Watch, they update it right away for me. Yeah, it's up 1%, but it just doesn't show it here on the chart for this particular stock. It's wrong. It's not even up 0.6%. It's up 1%, but it's not showing it for some reason. But yeah, Palantir is being updated right away, so it's down roughly 0.4%. Snowflake is still up huge volume coming in there as well. Probably institutions buying into Snowflake. And we see NIO plummet more. Nasdaq going negative as yields keep popping. Like I've said before, we've got to watch the yields here because they keep going up. It's not stopping. It's slowly going up more and more, and it's affecting the Nasdaq now. 1 second. Yeah, AI is about to go negative here. Palantir's down 0.5%. I mean, what's been happening with Palantir? It's been just flat. Straight up flat here. We saw this bump here when Alexander Karp had this interview. But so far, it's just been for a month and a half, no movement. And this is what tends to happen after a lockup period expiration. So this was the lockup period expiration and flat. Downtrending, actually. It's even downtrending. That's the crazy part. It is downtrending. MACD does look good on the 4 hours. So if it could cross here, potentially move up to the 25. Yields keep going up. Look at that. Yields are slowly going up. So far, the Nasdaq is sitting green here, but how long will that last as we see yields go up? Banks are skyrocketing, or should be skyrocketing, because look at that MACD cross on JP Morgan. Goldman Sachs about to see the same thing. Morgan Stanley about to see the same thing. So huge movements is coming in for these big banks. As yields are going up. And oil is going up. Cryptos are going up as well. Let me check Mara. Mara is up 2%. That is strange. Usually Mara is up quite a bunch if Bitcoin goes up like 4%. But we're seeing a lot of weakness there. 3.3%. It's gradually going up as the cryptocurrencies are going up. Let's see. Snowflake is not going down. Look at that, 3.8%. Snowflake is up, Palantir's down, AI is down. Let me check Splunk. How is Splunk doing? Splunk is up slightly. I'm expecting huge movement coming in for Splunk as it looks kind of oversold or very low in terms of like recent valuations. We'll see how earnings is going to be like for Splunk. It's been doing just fine. Although annually they did very bad in 2020. Because they had a lot of losses. Like 3 times the amount of losses. Nasdaq pushing higher. This is happening despite the yields going up, right? So Nasdaq is pushing higher despite yields going up. It's Microsoft is leading the way with 0.5% increase to the upside. I want to check Facebook. Up 1.06%. Facebook is up. SPX keeps rising as well. Nasdaq is up huge now. Happening as we speak, while yields are still heading up. So, interesting. Seeing stocks go green out. Snowflake almost up 4%. Palantir is up 0.5%. I want to check C3.ai currently. See what's happening there. It's only up 0.8%, so nothing really special happening here. I just wonder, like, how long is this going to last? Technicals look very awful on the daily chart. Like, you would not expect a big bounce here, especially when yields are behaving the way they're behaving. It could, okay, well, MACD cross seems more likely now. Could see a bit of a bump before a bigger sell-off. So what we could see here is another lower high. So potentially see a lower high in this zone, then it dumps again. Yeah, the dollar is definitely going to be taking a break here. Pretty much. Move sideways for a bit, for a couple of days. That will definitely, I would say, be a positive thing for equities. As if you have a rising dollar, that is generally not a good thing. Snowflake was given a 311 price target. Not that that's going to have a big impact. It's been like, we've got Tesla price targets at like $1,000. It's nowhere close to that, for example. Yeah, Palantir is rising now, finally. Up 0.8%. We see AI rising 0.5%. Snowflake is up 4.2% now. Guess Snowflake is a lot more attractive than the other tech stocks. It's crazy stuff. Could be XPeng better than Neo. I like XPeng better than Neo, to be honest. Snowflake keeps rallying, up 4.3% now. Look at that. I think it would have gone down more if it wasn't for that price target increase, because this is not happening because of anything that's happening to the company in particular. It's just some bank that says, hey, we think it's going to go to 300, which, to be fair, I do think it's going to go to 300. Where's that 311? It's like right here. Right at that zone. Yeah, I think it could go to 311 as well. If we use Fibonacci retracements, I mean, maybe we can find that level. Even Fibonacci retracements are not pointing to 311, so kind of a random price target, you know? You'd expect it to be like 300, not 311, but yeah, 280. There you go. 280 is my target on the in the next couple weeks. That's what I've been looking at personally. Like, anyway, these are not the most accurate things you could be using, of course. There are more accurate tools. Nasdaq is still green, and yields are falling slightly, while they're actually moving quite volatile. Okay, interesting. Is there anything strange happening here? No, we're not seeing anything very strange. The fact that the market itself is stable at the moment, that is good. Like, not seeing the market go down 3% or up 3%. Sometimes that's a good thing, you know. Just, you want to have still waters. You just want to have stability. It's a really good thing. Although we can see this significant push on the RSI. Will that last? No, it's good. What we're seeing is good so far. We're seeing the MACD cross about to be happening here as well. So it's going to be another push to the 12,900s-ish, I would say. Right at that level. Push through the 100-day moving average where it saw resistance on the short term. Which, you know, this is a resistance point. Which it's going to breach probably, given that yields don't skyrocket. Gamestop is pumping. Really? Wow. Okay, so Gamestop is going up huge, which in all fairness, we did expect this. I said this previously. Like, I think it was the 4 hours. Yeah, there you go. The 4 hours were looking super bullish, and there's still a lot of people that are interested in this company. So yeah, there you go. It's going to 215. If anything, I would say staying away from this company is the best thing you can do. Just watch it like a movie, because this is not to be taken seriously. Maybe if they fundamentally change their business in like the coming year, maybe then it could be valued at that valuation, but it's going to take a longer time than that, I would say. We'll have to see. I don't know what the short interest is. If somebody could like post a short interest in the live chat, I can give a more proper estimation of where this is going to go. It's moving very volatilely. This is really good. I think reaching that level is a bit of a horror scenario. But then again, I was expecting really big raises in the yield. So I expected yields to go up huge. So if that does not happen, of course it's not going to reach that level. But yeah, so far, I mean, predicted a 2% increase in yields. Not bad. If it goes up another 2%, that's when you see Palantir go down to that level. And not only Palantir, many stocks would go down. What's happening on the daily? It's sitting flat on the MACD. RSI neutral. So neutral RSI could go both ways. It's mostly dependent on the macros and the stock market. Like how is the environment going to be like? Short percentage of the float is 18.7%. That is nothing. That is absolutely nothing. In comparison to what we've seen before, I think the bulls are going to get wrecked with GameStop. Pretty much. I think the bulls are going to get wrecked with GameStop. The short interest is too low. Like what they want to trigger a short squeeze. You cannot trigger a massive short squeeze with just 18% of the shares short. It's just not going to happen. They could hold these shorts. The people that are short, they could hold for a very long time, and wouldn't mind about it. It was a great play at the time, but I would say not so more, not anymore, for GameStop. Nasdaq's still pulling up. I think one of those days, I mean, if this holds, what we're going to see is a big pull up. Very big push upwards. If it holds. If it doesn't hold, it's going to be like a big downward spiral to the 11,800s. This would be like horror show if that happens. Like a lot of people would lose money if it pulls back. It would be roughly something like this. Imagine that. By the end of April, reach those levels again. Ugh, can't even think about this. But yeah, that would happen if yields really skyrocketed. So if, for example, if yields went up like, what, 5% today or like 6% today, we would have seen that happen, I would say. Not the whole move, but like part of that move. We would have probably seen this. Like a 2 or 3% decrease in the Nasdaq. So the fact that yields are only sitting at this level, I think it's a good thing. But simultaneously, we're going to have to be very cautious because it could still rise until the end of the day. And we could then still see the Nasdaq plummet. So that's why I'm being cautious today. It's a very important day in the market. It will decide where sentiment is going next week. Pretty much. So far, sentiment is positive. We see C3 going negative. Palantir is up 1.2%. Okay. Snowflake, 3.8%. Why is Apple still red? Good question. Well, there's... It's been moving sideways for a while. Here it moved up for a year. Here it moved up for half a year. Yeah, Apple's not been performing that well lately, I'd say. Maybe there's not enough liquidity. That could be the case. To push a stock like Apple up, you know, you need a lot of liquidity. I mean, it's a market cap of like 2 trillion. You need a lot of liquidity to push a stock like that higher. It's been in a weekly downturn or downtrend. Yeah, it's still bottoming out, consolidating right in that zone. What's really weak is that we're not seeing any rallies to the upside. We're just seeing sideways movement. Which, to be fair, I mean, we have seen that in the past, but kind of what we've seen right here until we saw that push. Yeah, I would say if anything, it's still ready to be breaking out to the upside. I think there's more momentum coming in very soon. We're just gonna have to get through this patch of these yields, you know, going up the whole time. And I would say there's a high probability that we'll see Apple rallying back up. Let me see. It's sort of free floating there. Yields are going down. If yields remain stable, I'm expecting this to be the bottom. This zone right here that we're in right now, that is the bottom. From this bottom, I mean, we could see like a huge rally. This isn't the case where yields are still, I would say, if yields remain stable at these levels, we could see this happen. So by the end of April, get back to 135 to 140. Yeah, that is kind of the mindset there. Nasdaq is pulling away. Stocks going down. Palantir going up 1.6%. Good stuff. That is definitely not bad. Let's see if Neo's down. Oh, Neo's still down a lot. Look at that. So what happens? Okay, so let's say that Neo bottoms out there and it pops to 40 or 4. A $10 increase, that would be roughly 25% increase in the price. That would be an interesting play. Oh, look at that. Nasdaq suddenly popping. Quite interesting. This is as the dollar goes down, right? So it's reacting to the dollar going down. Nasdaq suddenly up huge. Look at that. What is going up then? Big tech is going up. That's what we're seeing. So money's going back into big tech. Palantir's up 2%. Snowflake's still up 4%. C3.ai still plummeting. Money's going back into... Well, XBank is popping. Because XBank was sitting at 29 for a moment, I think. Yeah, XBank definitely heading up. Yeah, it's reacting to the dollar's downfall. So we can check this 15-minute chart. Dollar went down. Nasdaq started popping. which does make sense. And it keeps going up here. Nasdaq keeps going up. Look at that. It is about to reach this zone, which we did expect, right? So it made this beautiful arrow previously. Expected a rally on the Nasdaq on the short term. As yields are stabilizing, they're not going up more. We're not seeing 5 or 6% increases in the yield. Yields are still sitting at a reasonable level. Which, if we can look at C3.ai, I want to see if it's being updated yet. It's just barely budging. It's not budging at $66, which is kind of strange. But, you know, time will take care of it. Palantir was up 2% at some point. We see the MACD cross here on the Nasdaq. So we're going to test these levels again, especially that 12,900. We're getting very close. Gara Palantir. I don't know. Let me check Market Watch. Let me update it. Palantir is, I think it's up 1.9% now. It's sitting at 23. Yeah, there you go. 23. How is that? Like, how can this company just keep selling off? Like, I have no idea. There's an event coming up that's positive, right? They're going to showcase some products. On top of that, we've got on the technicals, it looks quite attractive because I don't think it's going to go much lower than this. Would be very surprising. The Nasdaq would have to plummet for that. It's already down like $110 per share. They have a growth rate of roughly 20%, which could potentially increase as the economy is opening up. So fairly interesting how this is being played out right now. Nasdaq is still green, which is good. 10 years going down. US oil is going up. Bitcoin is up. Banks are heading up. Goldman Sachs as well. Morgan Stanley. There you go. Yeah, I'm expecting more movement on Bionano Genomics. It's going to go towards that 8 first and then gradually to that $10. There's definitely more movement coming there. 100%. If this keeps being the way it is right now. Now seeing the dollar go up slightly. 10-year going up as well. SPX is barely down. That's kind of funny. Well, the Nasdaq looks like it's getting wrecked. SPX is barely down. Dow Jones is sitting at all-time highs. It's kind of funny if you look at it that way. Let's look at ARK. ARK is up 0.8%. So it's up more than all of these. The SPX, the Dow Jones, and the Nasdaq. So when things go green, I would expect ARK to actually really recover here. So maybe that's a bit exaggerated. But you get what I mean. There could be huge returns to the upside on ARK Invest. Back to filling that gap at the 140s initially. Throughout April, right? Mid-April, end of April. That's what I would expect there. Neo said today will halt production at its F45. Yeah, pretty much. And that is negative, right? If you see, if Neo is doing that, that is going to be limiting their capacity, and if that limits their capacity, it's going to be bad for the balance sheet, and well, that's going to be another the projections are going to change for Neo if you see that happen, and then the stock goes down, which makes perfect sense. But yeah, Neo's already bouncing up despite all of that. Let's see. C3.ai MACD balance is coming in hot. Next week is going to be an interesting week, I would say. Still very oversold. So, could this move be even more substantial? I'm expecting the 80s, right? 80s at least for C3.ai next week on that demo week. If the markets are stable. And then that would be the start of that, uptrend that we haven't been seeing for roughly 1 month and a half. We haven't seen an uptrend in 1 month and a half. It wasn't an uptrend for roughly it wasn't an uptrend for almost 2 months. So given the cycle that we've been seeing with the stock, it would make sense if it's going to be starting an uptrend here. What's happening with Palantir? I'm just going to do some proper analysis on Palantir, actually. So what did we see with Palantir? It was sitting at this zone during the lockup period expiration. Didn't move for how long? Palantir didn't move for roughly, it was September, October. So 2 months. It barely moved because of that lockup period expiration that it had back then. 2 months? Is it 2 months? Oh, I got it wrong. It's a whole month, right? So for a whole month, we only saw one spike and it just came down. And then it rose on earnings itself, which is fantastic, right? This massive push right after a lockup period expiration, right after a huge amount of selling from Alexander Karp and Peter Thiel. So what we saw was it going up that way. It started after that month of selling. Then we had a month of buying. Sideways movement, consolidation. Well, going down, consolidation. Another month of going up. And we have been in a bearish kind of market since 1 month, or almost 2 months now. 2 months, right? It's been 2 months roughly. And the RSI is quite low. Volume has been very low. Volume has been gradually going down. And usually, when the volume picks up the pace, that's when you want to be in a stock, because generally that, you can see this in the volume right here. Volume picked up the pace, moves up huge. I think given the fact that we have a fundamental catalyst, like I've said in the past, on the 14th of April, right here, that would be a reason for volume to start picking up. Given that technicals are actually quite favorable to the upside, you'd expect huge moves, right? So, still looking quite bullish on Palantir there. And we know that a demo day could, at like $20 to the stock price, and other events, so I'm very inclined to say it's going to reach the 40s, but I'm just going to be conservative. I'm still remaining at that previous target that I had, is like roughly 32, 35-ish zone. But if Wall Street Bets is going to pump it up artificially, then yeah, it's going to go 40, maybe even 50 if that is the case. So yeah, if anything, still looking like this. Pretty much. Let me check the 4 hours. 14th of April. And it's also crossing in the 4 hours, right? So what you'd expect is a big push and then kind of this uptrend. That's a large pullback. That's a very large pullback. I don't expect a large pullback like this. Say pushes above. It comes back to the 25 and then maybe another extension to 32. It's kind of my mindset around Palantir at the moment. Let's see. Nasdaq is still green. That's good. Yields are not going up more. Yields are just staying at that level. And so far, we're seeing big tech. Big tech has been very bad, actually. If you think about it, you know, big tech has been not moving. For example, Amazon. It's almost a year now where you see Amazon just... It's been the worst play. One of the worst plays, I would say, the past 7 or 8 months. Depending on where you got in. I mean, if you got in this zone, you'd have gotten annihilated, right? But if you got in this bottom area, it's been a good trade. But yeah. It's kind of interesting. But I think Amazon is getting into this, I would say, zone where it's ready for another pump, I would say. Given that earnings keep going up, right? It's not like earnings are not going up. Earnings are going up, right? Annual earnings of almost $4 billion in 2020. If they could increase that this year again, well, guess what's going to happen? I mean, you're going to see another pump in Amazon. Their margin is about... Yeah, that's the thing, though. They have really, really low margins. 5.5%. Guess what Apple's margin is going to be like? It's huge. 20.9%, right? Their net income is $57 billion. It's way higher than Amazon. But yeah, therefore, I mean, it is a bigger market cap than Amazon. It's kind of a different business as well. Amazon is a... what is it? What is the market cap? 1.5 trillion market cap. I could see a little bit more upside on Amazon, to be honest. Can we see Neo at 60? Neo at 60? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's going to take a while, though. I mean, you can just kind of estimate of how long this took. How long did it take from here to 60? How many months? November until January. That is roughly 3 months. Or 2.5 months. So I would expect, let's just give it 3 months, right? In 3 months' time, because we also have a short, the supply in chips are like very low. In a 3-month time period, like from April, May, June, right around June, I was expected in 60s. So yeah, I do expect it to go back to the 60s. It's just going to take a long time because we've got several issues right now with Neo and these other Chinese EV companies and EV companies in general and the market. I would expect it to take 3 months roughly for a big return to those 60s and maybe moderately exceed it, but then coming down. So yeah, so 3 months, in 3 months time period. It's right around June. June is right here. Never mind, yeah, right here. I think mid to end June. That's my expectation because it's sitting quite low at the moment, and it's gonna it's not just gonna skyrocket in one day to like 60. It's gonna take a while. Neo halted car production from I've heard about the news. It's that's the main reason it is down today. So C3.ai going negative. How though? The Russell's is up 1.2%. The Nasdaq is up, and AI is down a percentage point. I find it so fascinating. That is just interesting. I am so surprised. How many people are shorting this stock? I really want to know. Because if it's high, then I would understand this. 23%. Wow. That is crazy. 23%. So almost 1/4 of the shares are short. So if that wasn't the case, if C3 wasn't being short, this is not the price. If C3 was like not shorted that heavily, it would be sitting at like 90 or 100, something like that. That is nutty. We'll see how the shorts are going to do when that event is going to come around. Let's see. Ah, there you go. Let's see. Let's see how long this is going to be lasting. It's going to be quite an interesting thing. You know what? I'm just going to give my long-term projection of this, because I don't think this short-term thing is going to make sense. We haven't seen a MACD cross, have we? We have never seen a historic daily MACD cross to the upside. Maybe right here it happened. Could be the case. So given that this is probably going to cross, right? It does look like that. There's a fundamental event coming up. It's still oversold. It is very oversold on the daily chart. So going from this level to neutral, that's like last time it was at that neutral level, that was at the $100. So I'm not going to assume it's going to go there because there's still resistance here to $90. I'm going to once again use this previous trend. Just going to use this one. Horizontal array. Roughly, I guess at $90. Let's just say $90 is that resistance. So we know that it can move $25. It does do that often, and the event is the 31st. So if it reaches this point, you'd expect a bit of a downturn. So yes, use this as I would expect that to be resistance here. That is until June it could reach that 150. But this is given that everything goes well. But I mean, if everything is going terrible, which has been the case, things going well is going to be very easy. It just has to not go terrible. That's the only thing that's going to have to happen here for this stock to be going up. So you'd expect a pump right in the beginning of April, roughly to this zone. So pump, correction to the 80s, which is a support level, or I mean, would be acting as support level, and then gradually rally back up along with the markets. And then I'm going to draw this again. Yeah, this is the most accurate thing I could say about this. So my estimation on this is that by the beginning of May, this is if things go okay. This is not if things go perfect. If things go perfect, we could be sitting 130 in like mid-April. If things go okay, I'm expecting this range to be hit first, $90 in the first week of April, right around the demo day for AI. And it would plummet again. It's going to retest this trend, roughly around the $80. That seems to make sense. This is been used as support, and then we would see a significant rally to fill this gap at the 115 in roughly the first week of May. And this time horizon also has been seen here. So we have some historic evidence that this is possible. We know for a fact that when C3.ai pumps, it's roughly a quick $25 burst to the upside and then a sell-off. Sell-off, sell-off. So it's not very new or anything. Like it could definitely be the case. It could actually exceed it, go to the $100 and then come back, but I'm going to be very conservative in these estimates. What we also know is there's a high short interest in C3.ai. Since there's a very high short interest in C3.ai, which is roughly 1/4 of the float of C3.ai is short right now, which is the reason why it's down 1.4%, as the Russell is up 1%, Nasdaq is barely negative, and its competitors are green. This is because it's being shorted right now. Now, we know for a fact that with these kind of companies that are growing fast, short interest can go up huge. We can have 25% short interest, maybe even 30%. But that is not forever. These people have to buy back their shares. So what I'm expecting is right around this demo day, we see a short squeeze. It goes back to the $90. It sells back off. Partially why it would sell again is because people would try to short it again. Which is not going to work because we're going to see the Nasdaq reverse by the mid till end of April. The Nasdaq will be reversing to the upside. I mean, by that time, it will roughly go to a support zone at the $80, which historically speaking, it's been used as support. So MACD would cross, kind of move like this, and then head back up. Now RSI is in the oversold, right, on the daily charts. Very oversold. Last time it was at the neutral level at the 40s, was around the 90s. So I would expect the RSI to reach probably 50 around this $90, and then see a bit of a dump, and then a move upwards back to the original RSI levels back when the stock market wasn't crashing as much. In the month of the end of April, May-ish, we could reach those levels. As short interest is going to decrease, price is going up, we would reach a bit of a cap right here, resistance point, plummet back to the hundreds, and then keep pumping for earnings to the 140s. This is in June. That's going to be my estimation on C3.ai. That's the best kind of estimation I can give on it. But yeah, keep in mind, if yields skyrocket from here, it's just going to plummet down further. That's if yields skyrocket to like 5 to 10% today. That could still be possible. It's a little bit unlikely at this point. Oh man, I am so hungry. I'm gonna have to eat some lunch very soon. This is the best estimate I can give on C3.ai right now, given how it's been behaving. This would be the most predictable move on this company. Given that we've also looked at the market, we've looked at the competitors, we've looked at everything, short interest, volume, technicals, fundamentals, even bonds, I think this would be quite reasonable of a move on C3.ai. And not even that, keep in mind, the institutions, they have price targets on C3.ai at 120. So it's being validated again. That's right after the gap fill. So that is a price targeting of institutions. They're watching that level, like that's what they expect to be the level for it to be at least hitting the next coming quarter. And there's another thing. Usually when you see a company perform bad on a quarterly basis, they lower down expectations. So, for example, if C3.ai gets several contracts in the coming months, and they've got lowered expectations, well, they're going to crush earnings. It's going to seem like they crushed earnings, and it's going to pop again. So there's a lot of good coming for C3.ai. All we need here is stability in the markets. That's all we need, and I think we're going to be getting that very soon. Yields are going to be flattening out very soon. Let's see. What's happening on the weekly chart? Weekly is right below neutral. Yeah, right. So I'm not going to change this chart. See how it's going to play out. I could be absolutely wrong here, but this is my estimation on this company. I think I should have done this before, like just a proper analysis on this, and I think I've done it already, but the markets kept plummeting. All right, let's see. Palantir. Yields are going down. Look at that. Yields going down. The dollar is going up slightly. Tesla is plummeting a little bit. Xpeng. NEO's picking up the pace again. CCIV is still down. Apple down 0.3%. Google is down. Yeah, big tech is just moving sideways pretty much. It's the big banks that is mostly profiting from this. The Morgan Stanley, the Goldman Sachs, etc. Let's see. Haven't checked Salesforce in a while, actually. Expected a bit of a move to the upside here. Didn't quite happen. It did cross the MACD, but it kind of went sideways while the markets were consolidating. We did figure out there was this bearish channel quite early on, actually. Very, very early on. Which has been helping a bit. There is a support zone right there. There is definitely a support zone. Let's see. Gap fill. Lots of weakness there. Salesforce has a 191 billion market cap. Earnings of 21 billion on a yearly basis. Yeah, I think what's going to be most interesting is how will they perform on earnings? As the economy is going to be opening up with Salesforce. Let me check the weekly. Weekly is definitely in the downtrend. It's been downtrending for a while. Let me use this trend line. Gonna use the one that I had previously. So bearish channel. Yeah, it's at this lower edge. Expecting it to rally substantially actually in the month of April. I think it seems like stocks are all bottoming out right now, and in the month of April we're gonna see massive rallies to the upside. Pretty much. Palantir up 1.8%. Ooh. Not bad. Oh, not bad indeed. In my opinion, it could be going up more today, given that the markets are so stable and given how much it's been down. After the lockup period, it's been a month, right? It's been a month and a half almost since that lockup period on Palantir. So I want to do an extensive analysis on Palantir as well, the same way I did it for C3.ai. I want to do it for Palantir. What we can see is there is a bit of a, it's sliding down, right? The price is kind of pushing downwards. We can even do this with the upper levels. Possibly. We had this big push to the upside, but that was because of the whole GameStop situation. But yeah, in general, we're like right at that bottom zone. So, what you would expect, like I've said in the past with that demo day, a bit of a rally there. It would have to break through. We might see it rally gradually first, see resistance, and then, well, it's been the past pattern. Yeah, bit of a rally, then push to the upside. So a bit of a rally like that. Roughly hit the 25, 26, maybe even higher than that. So that would be like a MACD push like that. For it to reach above 30s, we would need to see like one of those candles, like a lot of excitement around the public. Yeah, they usually go parabolic, right? So we see parabolic moves on Palantir. Here you've got one, there you've got one, there you go. I mean, those demo days are, especially after it's bottom out, right? It bottoms out and then it moves up hugely. It bottoms out and then it would move up quite huge. MACD's low, RSI's low. You've got all the ingredients for another parabolic move to the 32. It could go on the day itself. We could see another push, but that's going to be all up to like how popular the stock is going to be. Jude J.R. Jacqueline coming in with a $5 donation and says, "What's up, Gara? Can you do a complete analysis on Gevo like you did on AI, where it's going next month? Thanks, bro. Take care." I'll try. I don't know much about Gevo, so it makes it a bit difficult. It makes it a bit difficult to actually do it like really in depth. With C3.ai, I know the fundamentals and the technicals and everything else, but I'm gonna try, see if I can pull something, something out. What's happening with yields? Yields are still going down. Nasdaq pulling up. Okay. All right, let's take a look at Gevo. Yeah, it's kind of downtrending here on Palantir. A second. Anyway, this is my expectation with Palantir. This is kind of what I'm envisioning right now. If it doesn't happen that way, like a slower variant where it takes a little bit more time could be the case, but what's happening with Gevo? Kind of hilarious. Like, oh yeah, this is what I think, and then I look at a other company that I kind of looked at, and yeah, I mean, it did push slightly. Predicted like $1 difference, but it started plummeting right before earnings. But I don't know much about Gevo in particular, so makes it a bit difficult. And I do know for a fact there are a lot of people speculating on this stock as well, like Palantir. It went down right before earnings and then it plummeted like 20%. Yeah, like it makes it a bit difficult if you don't know much about the company itself. Market beat, lockup expirations, Palantir lockup 29th of March. No, Palantir has already had its final lockup period expiration. What? 1 second. Hold up. I don't think that's right. Palantir has already had its market lockup period expiration. I don't think that that's the case. They had their, I think they had 20% of their shares locked up initially, and then another 80% of their shares. So that wouldn't make a lot of sense, if you know what I mean. Like, I think they've already... It's wrong. I don't think that... makes sense. They have another lockup period expiration coming. If that's the case, Palantir's going to go to $18. One second. I'm going to have to confirm this. No, it's false. It's wrong. I've checked it. It's wrong. They've already done the last lockup period expiration, which accounted for 80% of the shares. It's incorrect. So there's no more lockup period expirations on Palantir. But yeah, nevertheless, thank you for that donation. It's a 25. I don't know what currency it is, but could be Polish PLN. 25 PLN donation. That lockup period expiration. We've already had it in February, the 18th of February, I believe, or 19th, somewhere there. So I doubt that. Don't think we're going to see much more of that. Let's just put it that way. All right, so let's see what's happening here with Gevo. It is about to be breaking up to the upside here on the 4-hour chart. I don't know much of what they do. Process industries, chemicals. They do have earnings, but it's been very bad earnings on a quarterly basis. See, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, I can do the technical analysis, but if fundamentally I don't know much about the company here, makes it a bit difficult sometimes. Sometimes, right? If it's in an industry that I'm not very... But I do know that if you see earnings like this, that is bad. That is just plain up bad. You don't want to be seeing this. Quarterly basis is just terrible. Probably because of the pandemic, because if you look at the annual revenue... it started to plummet in 2020, but in 2019 it was also plummeting. So it's, yeah. I mean, why is this company then valued at that valuation if it's doing so bad? Probably the answer is going to be it has to be something related to Tesla or EVs, because it doesn't just pump like that if it wasn't for that. Yeah, I mean, if the fundamentals are good, this is what you have to decide. I don't know much about this company. If the fundamentals are good, we'll see an extension of this rally. In fact, it's going to probably rally back to 12. But this is only if the fundamentals are good, and so far it doesn't look that good. So if anything, if this is how it's going to be for the coming quarters, it's going to plummet. But if fundamentals are good, you can decide. You can do some due diligence. It could be rallying here. For the mid-April, potentially a bit of a correction, and maybe even go back up to recent highs, $12 to $13 by like May. I'd say beginning of May. Let's see. Blackout period. Yeah, Baron is coming in with a blackout period. Let me check. I know what you mean. So that, yeah, they're denying. They are denying the selling of shares from their insiders. Right. Could be the case. I mean, that could very well be the case. There's going to be a lot of shares coming into the market. And it's going to plummet the share price of Palantir very soon, probably. Palantir's up 1.5% right now. Snowflake is up 5%. Wow. Snowflake is murdering it right now in the short term. And I think there's more to come. To the 240s, potentially. Let's see. You cannot check for a blackout period. Yeah, I know that for a fact. That's what they will decide privately, of course. Can you analyze Virgin Galactic? Sure. Look at that. I thought I was going to pump there. Didn't do anything at all. Why was that? We can see this in the market, actually. Oh, that's why. Massive 3% downturn on the Nasdaq. So that makes sense. Now I would say it's in a good position. $30. It's I mean, worst case it comes down again and then rallies, but it's been looking quite good. It's been looking quite good. It might consolidate here and then potentially rally up to 35, 37-ish again. So that would be like a 20% increase in the stock. Why is there no what? This is the wrong ticker. This is a... Yeah, but it's the same kind of thing. It's holding up on the 200-day moving average. That's a good thing to see because historically speaking, that's when it bottoms out, right? So you kind of want to be seeing that. Given that it's also moving on a longer term trend, this is positive, right? So, like I said, to the 37, it's going to be a possibility, yeah. Pretty much. A bit of a pump, but yeah. It hit like 60 at some point. That was very crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's looking sweet on the technicals. We just keep in mind, this is only going to happen if yields don't just pump like 3% or something, or 4%. Yields still going down. Yields still going down. That is good. That is good news. Relieves a lot of stress, I would say. Good to see that yields are not skyrocketing for a fact. Nano Dimension, please. Let me check Nano Dimension. Yeah, it's about to be popping. About to be popping. Yeah, the arrow, I mean, it said it's going to go slowly to the downside. It plummeted a bit here, so that's the thing. It's going to cross on the 4 hours. I'm expecting a move coming up to roughly the $10 to $11 for now on Nano Dimension. Nothing too major, just get close to those levels on Nano Dimension, as then it would be pretty much rallying in this kind of fashion. This would be the let me draw this. Let's move this arrow kind of like that back to that zone. Looks so ugly. That's what I'm thinking right now with Nano Dimension, given we have some stability in the markets. Yeah, stocks are still sitting flat for the most part. C3.ai is still plummeting because there's a super huge short interest. But actually, I want to compare. What is Palantir's short interest, actually? Might be interesting to see. Current short volume. Previous short volume. It's not even close to the same volume. Like, Palantir's not... Well, it's 17%. Yeah, well, yeah. It's not low, necessarily. Yeah, the short interest on Palantir, I think it's around 17%. That's still rather high, I would say. Morgan Stanley's still going up. So far, so good. Short term, I think we could see a bit more green, actually. Could see another percentage point increase. All right. What's happening with Alibaba? I was actually bullish in that one. I think it's down a lot. Yeah, there you go. It's the tune of 20s. I think Alibaba, if anything, is also losing a lot of money on the fact that that canal, the Suez Canal, or how you want to pronounce it, with a big ship that is like blocking it. I bet Alibaba is not doing so well. 622 billion market cap, revenue of 73 billion. That is some insane growth. Daily chart. Yeah, there's still a little bit of negativity left. Yeah. It's kind of like a falling knife at this point. It's getting close to bottoming out, though, on the weekly chart. Yeah, we had this massive parabolic move right here. This was for the, I think for the holidays. Big plummeting there. It could move lower, but yeah, 260s would be nice to be seeing. 255, 260. So like a 10-15% increase in Alibaba could be possible, like on the short term. And depending on the markets, you know, it might increase, might decrease. But for a swing trade, yeah, does look quite good. Let's see. C3.I going down further. Yeah, that's so weird. Because wait at the Russell is going up 1.3%, the Nasdaq is up, SPX up, Dow Jones up. Fundamental event coming next week. C3 is still down 1.7%. I have no idea what's happening there. It's just maybe institutions are selling. Who knows? At that point, at some point, it's like there's no real reason why that is happening because even its peers are looking green. So I think maybe an explanation could be like it has a very high short interest, and maybe people are adding to their short positions. That could be the case. One sec. So yeah. All right. Palantir is up. Snowflake is probably up because of that price target increase, if anything. AMG was weird about C3 going down. This company's pure. Interesting. A lot of people are negative on C3.ai. Lots of people negative. What's the earnings like? I mean, they had a 19% increase in revenue, although they lost money. But this is while we're in a pandemic, right? So C3.ai does perform better outside of a pandemic. So as the economy is going to open up, think C3 is going to do a lot better. Is Gamestop dumping? It's still up 7% though. So far, so good. Snowflake is the real winner of today, I would say. Snowflake is winning today. I'm gonna have to search up why that's the case. Could be because of a price target increase or something like that. It's kind of strange. Yeah, okay, a lot of news outlets are saying that Snowflake is going to go up. It's the news outlets themselves, right? Pretty much. The more positive news, the more people are going to be buying, right? That's the case. See what's in the news for C3.ai. That's the funny thing. They're not even talking about the demo day. There's a demo day coming up. What's really interesting is this. For C3.ai in particular, they have a demo day coming up. It's not being talked about, right? This is not being talked about. They were included into the Russell indexes. Not being talked about at all. But we see a lot of bearish news articles coming out almost on a weekly basis. And no positivity, nothing. Which is kind of, that's when I personally am thinking it is just being manipulated to the downside. Since there is a 25% or almost 25% short interest around it. The same thing actually happened to Palantir. I remember this very well, right in this zone. Lots of negative articles. Oh, don't buy Palantir. Go buy something else. And then it skyrocketed. So it's just you have to see through all of the I would say the negative press to see properly what is happening actually. Oh, there you go. The CEO sold off his shares at C3.ai. That's such a bad argumentation because the CEO of, for example, Palantir, he sold off $500 million in shares. Peter Thiel sold off his shares as well. This is a casual thing that happens. Snowflake did the same thing. This is not a particular negative event. It's just, it happens. It's not just C3.ai doing this. We've seen this with several companies. It's nothing new. It's just people that have been in a company want to get more liquidity for some reason, and they do it. Let's see. There's not a whole lot happening right now in the markets. AI's, oh my gosh, look at that. Down 2.8% right now, dumping. Nasdaq is only up 0.2%. Russell is up a percentage point. 10-year is 10 years going down. That's good news. So that is pretty nice. Alrighty then. Alright guys, I think I'm going to be wrapping up the live stream right here. I think it's been enough for now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I'll be back in about 3 hours from now to be going live again. I'm going to have some lunch. I'm going to hang out, relax a little bit, and I'll be back in a moment's notice. So make sure you tap that like button if you enjoyed the live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. We'll be live again in a couple hours. And I'll be linking you guys to the Discord community right now in the live chat. So if you want to join the community, feel free to do so. I will be there myself. Link is going to be in the live chat. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk to you guys very soon in a couple hours. And yeah, we're going to be covering some stocks. See where stocks are heading for next week in roughly 3 hours from now. So do make sure you are subscribed so you can be there on the next live stream. All right. See you guys in a couple